going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Sports Rants with Abby and friends. We got a full house today. Sorry I missed you guys last week, but Sean and Guy were definitely holding it down. So let's go ahead and just get into it. Since I love torturing Guy, we're going to go ahead and start with the college football playoff. And we have a new national champion in the Indiana Hoosiers. What a game. What a game.
Hoosiers?
Sean, let's start with you because you were there.
I was there. I was at the game. That was incredible. The energy there was insane. I was in the Miami half of the stadium too. So it was a lot of ups and downs. You had that Fletcher 57-yard run. Everyone's like, oh, we got a chance. And then the Mendoza, I guess the Mendoza pass to Becker or whatever his name is, that was a really good throw. I think kind of people got deflated there. And then his 12-yard run, I mean, that was like, welcome to town, like that was his big moment. And I will say, been like pretty like hypercritical of this quarterback class and like a lot of these players. And I don't know why this weekend, like, Mendoza grew on me so much, like watching all his press conferences. They had some stuff pregame that we got to watch. He loves his family. I don't know. There was a lot about him where I'm like, he's actually like a really likable person. I'm actually like rooting for his success in the NFL.
I know, and I am too. He's just a likable guy, and to see him, obviously, we'll see the team finish undefeated, obviously a Heisman winner there. I believe he's from Miami as well, so that adds a whole other...
Yeah, he's from Miami. He actually tried to walk on to Miami, and they rejected him. So there was a huge storyline there because they tried to recruit him, I think it was this year, and his parents said no. Like, they told him absolutely not. So then he went to Indiana. And apparently Indiana is the only school that has an undefeated college basketball, and undefeated college football season now. So I thought that was a cool stat. All the Hoosier fans were making that known on the walkout. But, God, I would not have wanted to see that town if Miami won. I think they would have brought the stadium down. They would have brought the town down. It would have been insane.
Would you say there was like an even mix of Indiana
I would
fans
say there's more Indiana fans. There was more Indiana fans.
Crazy.
And I was blown away because we had like these VIP tickets. So we got to go like this huge pregame thing. And like, we were there the whole weekend, obviously. Like, we got there Friday. So it was just Indiana people after Indiana people. Like, obviously the Miami people were there, but I was really blown away with the turnout. Like, even, I don't know if you watched like the post-game stuff, the whole, like half the stadium was still filled. Like, it was nuts. And like I said, it's kind of noticeable because I was on the Miami side. So I kind of saw all the people, but I'm like right across, like, I think you guys saw like the videos I put in the group chat, but like you could see it's just all red. It's a sea of red across the way. Like I knew Indiana had a big fan base, and apparently they would have had more people there, but they really tried to like limit the amount of Indiana fans, like, because Miami started hiking the prices up. But I mean, I was really impressed with their turnout, and I will say they have a lot of classy fans too. I'll give them credit where credit's due. They weren't shit talking anybody after the game. Like, they were excited, obviously, but I mean, I was like on the suite level. I don't know if you guys have been to the Hard Rock. I mean, you've been to Hard Rock Stadium, right? So you know where level 2 is.
Yep.
So we were there, and there was obviously, it was actually cool because in the suite next to us, Bill Belichick was in there, Michael Phelps. So there was like a lot of important people. I thought that was super cool. Not to get too off topic, but like all of the people that were leaving out of that suite area were just raging Miami fans that were trying to fist fight every Indiana fan. I'm like, damn, I was not expecting that.
They get crazy down in Miami over there.
Certainly.
Yeah, but that Mendoza touchdown was just phenomenal. Like I honestly obviously the Jets need a quarterback. So when I started doing like mock drafts and looking at who's available, I wasn't sold on him yet until like the beginning of the college football playoff. And I'm like, all right, I see what this dude's about. And I feel like weekly, my love for him has gotten stronger. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Guy, obviously not the outcome that you wanted, but overall thoughts on the game. It was a great game. And I'll tell you right now, Miami's defense deserves all the credit in the world. They looked fantastic. I know the score doesn't reflect that, but they were bringing some pressure. And obviously Jets needing some defensive guys this year. I'm definitely looking at some of the Miami players. So, Guy.
Yeah, I mean, look, for a lot of people weren't even supposed to be there, and making it to the final from the 10 seed was an accomplishment. We had to do everything with our backs against the wall, pretty much trying to prove ourselves, and we hung in there with the best team in the league. I mean, in the country, with a chance to win at the end. Some people had us getting blown out. I knew it was going to be competitive. It's our DNA to fight to the end. Um, I know we're a college that produces a lot of professional talent. That's how we used to be, and we're trying to get back to that. And I'm excited to see where some of these guys like Ruben Bain and you know even Fletcher, when he gets out there, I think he's going to be a serviceable running back somewhere. I love the way he ran. Without him, busting those runs throughout the game, we wouldn't have been where we were. Beck, I think, was a little in over his head in that game, especially in the end when he threw that bad interception. I don't think you needed to take a shot at that point, but I tip my hat to Indiana. They were the best team that day and throughout the whole year, and is well deserved. Not really upset, but I'm proud of my guys for fighting.
I mean, that interception was god awful. That is not what you needed to do in that moment. And I was excited to see, because there was so much time still left at that point in time, that I'm like, you can still go ahead and make this work. But yes, I was like, that just, a lot of Jets fans have also been talking about drafting Carson Beck, and I'm like, I would say a million miles away from him, honestly. I don't want to hear his name come in that conversation. It's funny, in the group chat, as soon as he threw the interception, everyone's like, all the haters were like, see, this is why we didn't want him. We're all going back and forth with each other. But Sean, you mentioned punches thrown. There was a punch thrown after the game as well by Fletcher, I believe.
Yeah, but it was the guy said something about his deceased dad or
yes.
mom. So everybody that was there,
that be confirmed though.
It was pretty much confirmed. And I will say, like, we watched it happen, and everybody that we were with was like, that's like one of the most level-headed guys they have. And then you read all the articles after, like, how he waited like a while to talk to Mendoza and like say congratulations and stuff. And yeah, it was apparently he was talking about like deceased family members, and there's not a lot of things that can really.
He was talking about his dad, apparently.
His dad, yeah, whatever. It was. And
they did a beautiful story on his dad, by the way.
Yeah.
How he honors him weekly, which is
that. Yeah, but I will say, like, right when it happened in the stadium, though, everybody was like, "Was that Fletcher? That's like the last person you would expect to do that." So I'm on board with it. I don't think it was like I'm brain farting on the guy from Oregon, LeGarrette Blunt. When LeGarrette Blunt punched the dude, yeah, like, I don't think it was like that.
Good times.
It was definitely something that was said, but Miami's got a ton of weapons. They'll be okay next year. We didn't Malachi Tooney or whatever his name is.
Oh,
guy's a stud. He might be the second best receiver in the nation behind Jeremiah Smith. I mean, he does everything on the field too, like wide receiver, punt returner, kick return. Running, but he does everything. Kids was really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to a brighter note, let's talk about the NFL divisional round this weekend. And we had some good games, some not so good games. So which one do you want to start with? Sean, we'll save yours for last.
Yeah.
Guy?
Oh, let's do Denver and Buffalo first.
I figured you were going to say that, considering we're both like AFC East. We both like AFC East teams. So, Guy, go ahead and overall thoughts. I guess I want to know, in your opinion, it kind of goes into the Rams game as well. I want to know overall thoughts on the game. Was that an interception?
That's what I want to know. What is everyone's thoughts on it?
McDermott was fired as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. Go ahead, Guy.
Yeah, a lot of happenings in Buffalo the last couple of days, right? But it was a pretty entertaining game. Obviously went to overtime. some controversial things happen. I want to say sorry to Bo Nix. I hope he gets healthy. That was a huge blow to the Broncos team that, ended up winning that game. But, I thought both teams, had their chances to win the game. I thought Denver played the better game overall, though. Turnovers, a big problem for Josh Allen in his career. And I know that a lot of people put him in a different stratosphere than everybody else. And when that happens, you have to have the accountability that comes with it. You can't fumble like that. You can't throw those picks. And it's not that he didn't have help, because there's another narrative that I just want to address before, the excuses come from Buffalo fans. They had the best rushing attack this year and the number one pass defense. So you had elements to actually, help if you played a certain style. When you play with reckless abandon, sometimes you make mistakes. And in the playoffs, you can't make mistakes. And I think that's why he hasn't been successful overall in the playoffs, because that style is not a winning formula. Now, when you go to that interception, I thought it was an interception. I thought that he didn't establish control of that football yet. You couldn't tell in the replay who had it, but, kudos to the defender for finishing the play, and he didn't give up on it. If you're the receiver and you have it, hold on to it for dear life so that that question doesn't even arise. Like, make sure you're down before you relinquish the ball, right? Or loosen the grip. I don't think that was the determining factor in the game anyway. I know people are looking at that. Clean up the turnovers. That was the single most reason why Buffalo lost. And, McDermott got the brunt of the blame here, but he wasn't out there on the field, executing, but kudos to Denver, found a way to win like they do all year long. And it was a close game. Denver, very good in close games. Josh Allen struggles in close games. That was kind of the difference.
Sean.
Yeah, I didn't watch either of the games on this night. I was at the Miami Heat OKC game, so I rewatched like all of it afterwards. It's tough. I think Buffalo should have won. I think the biggest thing that lost in this game was the fumble right before half that turned into a field goal. Obviously, that was the difference between overtime and not. It's hard. I feel bad for Josh Allen. I mean, I'm a big Josh Allen fan, and I feel like he's getting so much hate. Rightly so, if you want to call it, or whatever you want to say. I don't think it was an interception, personally. I think Cooks had possession, and regardless, his knee hit the ground while being contacted by a defender. And 100 times out of 100, minus this one time, possession always goes to the receiver. That's nothing new. That's been consistent. Everybody knows that. Again, that's not why they lost this game. And I also think watching that final drive where Denver drove it down the field, there was like 5 penalties called on Buffalo that were just complete horseshit, in my opinion. It was almost blatant, like they wanted the game to end and they wanted the Denver Broncos to win. I don't have any dog in this fight, obviously, but I think obviously you can't win a game throwing 5 turnovers or having 5 turnovers. I think he really only had 4 because I don't agree with the interception. I mean, that's going to be debated for years. That's going to be a play that we're talking about. That's going to be like the Des Bryant catch, right? Like we're going to be talking about that for years. It's just weird to me because, like I said, possession's always gone to the receiver, but now we want to change the goalpost and say, oh, well, we couldn't see clear possession. Well, yeah, if we can never see clear possession, it's always going to the wide receiver 100 times out of 100. it's just sad. Denver got away with another one. Good for them. They're the kings of close games. And honestly, what's his name? Stidham? I don't know how to pronounce his name, but apparently he's like not horrible, right? So they still have a chance. It's not Bo Nix, and it's unfortunate he got hurt. But, they still have a chance. It's, J.K. Dobbins might play again this week. That would be a huge boost for their run game. And frankly, with 47 turnovers in the New England game, they still barely won the game. So I think it bodes well for Denver going forward. I don't think they're out of it by any means. I don't think this is a cakewalk into the Super Bowl for New England. They also have to go to Denver, right? Like they're going from playing 2 games in New England to Denver. So this is going to be, the coming game is going to be interesting. But that was a really hard game to watch, the Buffalo game. There were so many mistakes, and we can blame whoever we want. The Bills fought till the very end. And I think there was just a few egregious – I mean, we can even talk about the pass interference on Keon Coleman in the end zone in the game. That should have easily been a PI, put the ball on the one. And then you have Josh Allen for 3 plays. I think it was like 28 seconds left on the clock or something at that time. So I don't know. There's just a lot of ifs, ands, or buts on both sides. But, congrats to the Broncos. That's what matters.
I know. And my Super Bowl prediction still is kind of remaining strong. I had Rams and Broncos, so we will see after this weekend. But I don't think the Broncos are completely out of it just because they lost Bo Nix. That absolutely sucks. And honestly, I said when Bo Nix got hurt, I was like, you might as well have had the Bills win at this point. I don't want to see Stidham. We wanted to see Bo Nix and this team that won 14 games this season in the regular season. That's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see that team, but obviously it's not like Stidham. It's not like he's going to have no weapons at all during this game. It's still the same team, just a different quarterback. Sean Payton, he's been around the league a long time. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. He will get this team absolutely prepared with the quarterback. So as far as the interception, I'm actually with Guy on this one. I do think it was an interception. I don't think he had possession. And it's funny because I feel like I changed my mind after every single angle of the replay. I saw it from literally every single side, but it's that front side that's very clear. I know his knee is down, but I just don't think he has possession of the ball. And then if you kind of look at the motion after, correct me if I'm wrong, Cooks didn't get hurt on that play, correct? Was he shaken up at all?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see his reaction after the play, though? It was like he knew it was an interception. He didn't try to sell it as a catch. It's like he knew that the ball was turned over and he kind of had his hands on the ground. So I'm like, dude, if you knew it was a catch, you're over there in their face, in the ref's face, like, what? This is BS. They're screaming. When everyone wants a flag, you're shaking your hands. And that's what kind of, for me, was like, I think he knew. And honestly, it doesn't matter at this point. Obviously, Denver's advancing. So I don't know. It was just, it's hard because like you, Sean, I am a Josh Allen. I love Josh Allen. It's hard not to like him. But at the same time, Guy, because he's in our division, I'm like, all right, my team can't have anything. Your team can't have anything either. I was being a little petty like that. But it absolutely pains me to see that the New England Patriots are headed back to the AFC Championship game, though. I can tell you that much. I can't effing stand them. Cupcake schedule. I know it's going to be a little, Sean, I'm glad you pointed out, it's going to be a little tough matchup with New England, obviously heading to Denver and going up against that defense and stuff like that. But let's go ahead and any other thoughts on that game? Then we can move on. Well, there's not really much to talk about when you talk about the 49ers and Seahawks game. Sean, it's really crazy. I know you were at the other game, but I can't believe you missed this game.
Yeah, I just we got really good tickets to go to the OKC game, and I haven't seen them in person. So
did they win?
No, we lost. They lost by 2.
Oh man,
so it was a tough game, and no Tyler Hero. So I was like, okay, but we also Jalen Williams got hurt in the first quarter, something with his hammy, so he was out almost instantly. That was kind of tough. It was a great game. I mean, I didn't really care who. I mean, I do care who wins, but like you guys know by now, like I just care about watching good sports. So that was huge for me. If they blew them out, awesome. But like it was a 2 point. It was like 122 to 120, and I found it weird because again, not to get off topic for football, but they ran an inbounds play. Caruso inbounded the ball to Shea, and then Shea passed it back to Caruso to shoot the game-winning shot. And I didn't know why Caruso didn't inbound the ball, pass it to Shea, and then I don't know why it wasn't inverse. I was like, why are we giving Caruso the game-winning shot here of everybody on our team? I thought it was a little strange, but it is what it is. But yeah, I did miss the Seattle game because of that. But I honestly was so confident that we were going to beat the brakes off of them that I wasn't like too worried about it. And honestly, if we only scored on the first play of the game, we still would have beat them. So it didn't really matter.
Guy, overall thoughts? Any other thoughts on the game? I mean, you knew it was over the first play.
Yeah, I mean they set the tone right from the kickoff, and then it was just an avalanche of just an onslaught. I think they scored like maybe 17 points in the first quarter, and then you kind of knew like this is a big mountain to climb for San Francisco, and I thought the game would be a little more competitive, but kudos to Seattle for just like not taking their foot off the gas, and they just did what they had to do. You smell blood in the water, you just go for it, and they did, and they showed that right now they have to be the favorites to win it all.
I will say we did lose Charbonnet, which is huge.
Yes,
that's a massive loss, but here's the good part. I mean, Charbonnet is our pass blocking running back. He's phenomenal at it. The cool thing about being us is we've split those guys' carries all year. So Kenneth Walker's fully healthy, right? He's going to be able to take a couple games and take all the carries. We get Halani back off of IR this week, so that'll be good. So I'm not too – it's not like, oh, no, we lost Charbonnet and we don't have another running back. We have arguably a top 10 running back in the league also in that backfield with Kenneth Walker, So I think we're going to be relying on our run game a lot. We'll get into that game, but I think I'm really happy having Kenneth Walker still. It's not like, we're like the Bills and we lost James Cook, or, you're the Ravens and you lose Derrick Henry or whatever you want to take it with any of these elite running backs. So.
Well, let's talk we're going to get into obviously some positions have been filled. I can't talk today. Some positions have been filled in terms of NFL coaches, but since we're talking about the Niners a little bit, let's go ahead and talk about Robert Saleh, now the Titans head coach. Guy, any thoughts? Of course, the Jets play the Titans next year, so they'll probably make that a week one game time. Monday Night Football, you know it.
Get your bets in. Titans winning that game. No, but I thought Robert Saleh had a raw deal with the Jets. He was kind of handcuffed a little bit. I actually like Robert Saleh, and I'm glad that he was able to get another shot at being a coach. Because sometimes if you do horribly and take one of like these jobs where you need to like turn the whole franchise around, it's tough if you don't succeed to get another shot. So he's just a phenomenal defensive coordinator. What he could do. I think the Titans will be competitive. At least at least they're not going to be, I think, doormats next year. I think they're going to be a lot more competitive.
Sean?
We'll see. That's all I have to say. We'll see what he can do. His first tenure wasn't very good, right? So hopefully it's in a better organization, I would say. I mean, the Titans looked half competent, but they have so many holes that they still need to fill. That's good. Like, I hope they're just patient with him and they don't expect them to be like an 8-win team next year. That's what I'm hoping. Give them like 2 or 3 years to draft and build up, because that's what they're going to need. Yes, they have rookie wide receivers, young wide receivers. Their defense is not very good. And then you have an aging Pollard and a Tajay Spears, so there's a lot of things that need to be built around and built out of that. But just be patient with him, let him do his thing, and I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, and I understood why we let Salah go, not in the middle of the season. I thought we were going to let him go at the end of the season, but I do think he, like you mentioned, I do think he was deserving of another head coaching role. That Niners defense was banged up, and he somehow was still making it work with the players he had on the team. So, I'm hoping for success for him in Tennessee. Obviously, I think it's going to matter, of course, who he also brings in as his staff as well. He's got to have some support there too. But again, this is just like, I feel like it's going to be a built up thing, like the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers facing his former team as well. You already know that NFL scriptwriters are going to
But Aaron Rodgers is retiring, right? So
no, they were talking about Aaron Rodgers' ghost wife, that no one's ever met and whatnot. So everyone just hates Rodgers. I'm not on that train, but I digress nonetheless. All right, let's move into the other two games from this weekend, the Rams and Chicago game. My, oh my, was that a game? And I was rooting for the Bears a little bit. You love the story, but Sean, I'll start with you this time. Did you catch that game?
I did. I watched the other two games. Actually, not to deflect, but I sat with like a multi-millionaire for the Texans game. So he had like $50,000 on the Patriots, and then he also put $50 at the beginning of the season on Indiana to win the Natty, and he won $7K this weekend just off of that. So that was cool. But I will say the Rams-Bears game we saw a common theme this weekend from all of the young quarterbacks. Every single one of them, Drake May's included in this, all turnover prone. All of them had way too many interceptions, way too many turnovers. And guess who the only two were that didn't have any was Sam Darnold and Matthew Stafford, right? They didn't make any big mistakes. Stafford did fumble the ball twice, but they both got recovered. They got really lucky with the one that got recovered. Didn't it get recovered? Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the texting. I'm getting mixed up. We'll talk about that later. But Caleb Williams, it seems to be the common theme with him is bonehead interceptions. And then get more off the team. I mean, the guy has I watched the route where the interception happened, and it was a great play by the safety or the corner, whoever it was in the middle field. I didn't see who it was. Great effort by them to get that pick, but what in the world? I mean, he just stopped mid-route. So what do you expect from Caleb at that point? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. They have a lot. The Bears have a lot of talent over there. They're going to be fine, but it's concerning when this common trend seems to be, Caleb Williams just kind of tossing games away when they matter most. And he has some great plays with the game on the line, right? Like, he had that great drive to get it into overtime. But I feel like the Bears should have won that game. I really do. I feel like they had got the ball back. They were driving down the field, and I feel like they tried to stretch the field a little too much when you're dinking away at them. Just keep taking, I guess they were taking the middle of the field, but like that was like a 20-yard pass. Like just keep taking your 5-8 yards, and then I don't know. It was a sad game. I obviously would have loved to have played the Bears in the next round because I feel like we would have dog walked them. But the Rams get another tough win, and they're beat up too. The Rams are beat up, and they came out here and got a tough win in Chicago.
Yeah, those fans were crazy over there. I remember my co-host on my other show, he was at the wild card game, and they didn't have a bye, right? No, Seattle did. Yeah, they were at the wild card game, and he's like, that environment is like no other. We were making fun of him because they even gave him like a free Bears beanie as well, and he's a Jets fan, and he was wearing it. And I'm like, we're just teasing him. But before I get your thoughts, I just want to acknowledge Johnny Boy up in the comments. We appreciate you, Guy. He was bragging on you with no hat on today. We love to see that you got a full head of hair, though.
He said the leather chancletas. Oh my God.
Looking like somebody steal out here.
Johnny Boy's ready for the Super Bowl performance with Bad Bunny too. He's gonna be out here all
He's gonna be standing on his dining room table at home for sure.
Stand right on top of it too.
Shirt off, like.
Guy, any thoughts on the Rams Chicago game? I mean, I want to know, do you think Chicago is a little bit too aggressive in some aspects of the game?
Yeah, I do. I think sometimes you have to be a little more pragmatic and take what the defense gives you, like how Sean was saying. You don't have to always go for the big play. I think that's Chicago's tries to do that. Caleb Williams is a great young quarterback, and I think he's going to get better within time. But I think the Rams deserve to win. They went into Chicago, played a tough game, showed their character. These guys are battle tested, and I think overall experience of the Rams was the biggest factor in them winning here. Caleb Williams is going to learn how to win, but along the way, you're going to have to take losses like this to develop your, overall character as an NFL quarterback.
I agree with you, and I just want to commend the Bears for what a great season. I don't think any of us saw that coming at the start of the season. And Ben Johnson, I mean, what a season. Ben Johnson, when he was taking off his shirt in the locker room, man, that should even have me hyped. That's gonna be Johnny Boy. That's gonna be Johnny Boy this weekend. All right, and then last but not least, let's talk about the Patriots Texans game. Obviously in New England, tough environment to play there. CJ Stroud is just, his regression needs to be studied because had not been for him and his turnovers, I think they absolutely would have won that game. Sean, I'm gonna start with you. Do you think they go ahead and talk about obviously CJ Stroud? I know you have some thoughts because you were chiming in the chat a little bit, but do you think they should have put in Mills as well?
Absolutely. The second, to me, I know you got to go with your guy. He just played himself out of a mega contract, by the way. There's no way he's getting a mega deal anymore. If I'm the coach, the second that he throws that ball up in the air, like, bro, take the sack. What are you doing? That would turn into a pick six. You guys just scored and got the ball back. What are we doing here? I was perplexed. When I saw him throw that ball, the first thing I said was that's a pick six. I was mind blown when I watched him throw that. I couldn't believe it. And I get the weather was bad, but I was watching him make throws, and he was inaccurate on almost every single throw I watched. And he did everything he could to lose the game. I mean, that defense was doing everything. I mean, they gave up like 280 yards. And they gave the ball back to them like 5 times. The Woody Marks fumble ruined that entire drive when they were about to take the lead. CJ Stroud is throwing multiple picks, and that defense is fighting for their life. And to me, they proved that they were, a top defense in the league yet again. They tried to win them that game. They had a couple unlucky fumbles that they didn't get the recoveries on. I think they had it at like the 5-yard line, and Campbell fell on it, and they would have had the ball at the 5. And you know what? I don't even know if they would have been able to score from the 5 is the thing. That's how bad they looked. And Kayshon Boutte made catch of the year by far in that weather. That was an absolute insane grab to ice the game. But, Davis Mills would have been in after halftime almost certainly. I mean, you got to give yourself a chance to win, to me. And that was the only way they had it to win. They couldn't run the ball. I mean, the halftime stat was they had like 13 rushes for 8 yards, like 0.7 yards a carry. It was an embarrassing performance from the offense, and only the offense. The defense did every single thing they could. Stingley gave up that catch. Stingley, that's out on him. You know what I mean? They're out on that field. I don't even want to know how many plays. They probably weren't even out on the field for as many plays as the offense, honestly. But they were given horrible field position every single time the Patriots showed up on the field. And they were doing everything they could to get stops. Ugh.
Tell us how you really feel, Sean. No, I think we all felt your frustration. We're not even Texans fans. And we're like, dude, what more do you need this defense to do right now? They're keeping you in this game. Guy, Well, Johnny Boy, we are going to talk about that later today. I saw his comment about the Hall of Fame, but Guy, overall thoughts on CJ Stroud and just the Texans in general?
It's just a missed opportunity. The Texans, to me, were the better team. You just can't turn the ball over like that in the egregious manner that it was turned over. Like, and shout out to the Texans defense. And this is why I say that to me, in the playoffs, were probably the best unit of any singular unit on any of the teams because of that character that they could really dictate the outcome of a game. And they almost still overcame all those turnovers and had a chance for about 3.5 quarters, 4 quarters, whatever you want to say, to maybe pull it out. But you're not going to do that when your quarterback is just looking lost out there. I don't want to say scared, but, once you start turning the ball over multiple times, now that doubt creeps in your head. And you start overthinking things and second guessing yourself. And this is the wrong time for that to happen. And again, New England, the beneficiaries of breaks, guys being hurt or circumstances fall in their favor, they still haven't impressed me, and this is not to, be a hater, but that this is probably the easiest road to an AFC championship that I ever seen in my life. And next week, they're going to face a backup quarterback who hasn't thrown a football in 3 years in a game. So that could be quite interesting, but I hope Sean Payton is, preparing Stidham for this game because New England's very beatable. It's not like Drake May was lighting the world on fire. It's just that he made less mistakes than CJ Stroud. And there you go. That's basically what this came down to.
And barely at that. He still had 3 turnovers.
He still did.
And the other thing, too, is, I forgot to totally mention it. Nico Collins didn't even play in this game. That was the other huge thing, right? Like, they got away with not having to play with Nico. And, a piss poor run game by Texans all year.
Yeah.
They had no run game. CJ was getting killed, but him getting killed doesn't make an excuse for his decision-making in that game. The one play that changed that whole game, and I think we can all agree, is that floater pick for absolutely no reason. Killed the entire game.
That was terrible.
Well, let's go ahead and preview the Patriots-Broncos matchup. It looks like right now I'm seeing a New England by 5 and an over-under at 42.5.
In
this
Denver?
Game's in Denver.
They have them winning by 8 at home. Get out of here.
Crazy. Guy, I guess, who you taking in this game?
I'm going to pick Denver. I think they're going to find a way to win. This is part of their DNA. And, yes, they're going to miss Bo Nix. But I think for at least a game, I think Stidham could rise to the occasion and pull out a victory. He still has, Sutton and Mims and Franklin and, Dobbins is coming back. And that defense, I think that defense is going to wreak a lot of havoc on May, just like Houston did. The Broncos defense is a little bit different than Houston's, but I think they're going to get pressure on May and force some mistakes. And if their defense is going to score, which I think they're good for at least 1 touchdown, I think Denver wins a close game.
As long as Stidham is just anywhere near a competent quarterback, they will be just fine. And I love how Nick Foles tweeted out, when he came in and he won the Eagles Super Bowl. Let me tell you, that's like, he's an Arizona Wildcat. Watch his whole career there. I love to see it. So I love to see those type of motivational words that he had for him. But like I said, Sean Payton, he's going to absolutely prepare this team. I'm not even concerned, but like that spread at 5 with New England is crazy to me. You're still playing in a tough environment in Denver. So I'm just again, Guy, I'm sure you probably share the same sentiment, but I've seen Patriots fans acting like, we went through so much to get back to this point. Shut up. You didn't suffer. You didn't do anything. 15 years without the playoffs. Don't fucking talk to me.
Yeah.
Honestly. Get out of here. And I will continue to say, I have one friend, he featured me in like his little video about just people being like, oh, I have, Houston by X amount of points. And I was actually featured in his video with my little dance. And I was like, what an honor, dude. And all his Patriots fans came for me, and it was hilarious. But Sean, what are you liking in terms of the spread here?
I mean, I love the plus 5.5. I'll tell you that much. That feels really disrespectful to me. And I feel like every time we see these lines where we think they're disrespectful, we're usually right on them. So that's always good. It's going to be turnovers. And again, a second, sorry. I'm getting over being sick. Ugh. I think that the Denver defense is going to be able to make turnovers. And I think that the thing is this isn't going to be a snow game like it was, like a rainy snow game like it was in New England, right? So I think if J.K. Dobbins plays, and he looks any competent at all, they'll be able to run the ball, and they have the receivers and the playmakers to do enough. And like you said, if Stidham doesn't turn the ball over like 4 times, even if he turns the ball over twice, I still think they're okay, because I don't think that New England can capitalize offensively on that. I don't think they're going to run all over Denver, and I sure as hell don't think they're going to pass all over them. And that's a long travel, right? You got to go across, cross country. You're playing in Mile High. I quite frankly, I got Denver winning outright personally. But just this 5.5 spread, I just feel like that's so disrespectful. That's 8.5 if New England's at home, like you're taking them to win by over, basically 2 scores. There's no way.
I'm right there with you, Sean. I obviously want the Broncos to win outright. You know what I mean? I'm not sure that they win the Super Bowl, considering the 2 teams we're going to talk about next in the NFC Championship game. But seems like we're all on the same page here. And I'm glad you pointed out, too, it is low-key still disrespectful because, again, I follow this one Denver Broncos content creator, and she's really great, but she was pointing out how, like, people were ragging on Denver because of Bo Nix. And then now that Bo Nix is not there, it's still the same excuses. So she's like, which one is it? What do you believe in Bo Nix or not? Because you're saying we weren't doing anything with him. Oh, okay. Now that we're without him, it's like, it's the same story. So let's go ahead and talk about that NFC Championship game. My God, Rams and Seahawks. I see a spread of 2.5. Obviously in Seattle, over unders at 47. My God, that's going to be a great game.
Yeah. I think whoever wins this wins the Super Bowl, in my opinion. It doesn't matter which way it goes.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm going Seattle. I don't think that's any question. And quite frankly, with the way we looked last week, I am more than confident going into this week. We might get Charles Cross back this week as well, which would be huge for our offensive line, even though, Sundell and Bradford have been really stepping it up for us, that's what carried us a lot. Yeah, we can argue the Charbonnet injury sucks. I'm, like I said before, I'm more than happy with Kenneth Walker going out there and being our RB1 and getting 80% of the carries. That'll be fine. The only thing that's going to concern me is Darnold didn't have to throw the ball last game. He had the oblique injury, got added late to the injury report. You never want to see that. It gave me Travis Hunter bye week vibes is what I got when I saw the injury report, and then he ended up being out for the year. And I'm like, there's no way, we lose Sam Darnold. If he just takes it easy this week, though, I think they'll throw enough drugs in him where he'll be okay. I'm not too worried about it. But it's the Rams versus the Seahawks. It's always going to be a good game. Seattle's not winning this game by 85 points like they just did against, the Niners. It's not going to happen. I think this is going to come down to the last possession. There's going to have to be 1 or 2 big plays made. And, we already beat them once and a huge comeback win. And honestly, we should have beat them the other time. Darnold had 4 picks and we still only lost by 2. And our defense is firing on all cylinders. Special teams looks fantastic. I think this is our game to lose. That's the biggest thing for me is we have to go out there and give them the ball and just turn it over. Otherwise, I think we'll be in full control of this one.
Guy, who are you taking?
Yeah, I mean, this is to me the 2 best teams all season, and we're getting them in the NFC Championship. When you're in the playoffs, every possession matters, everything is maximized, and I have to go with the proven commodity. That's why I'm going to pick the Rams. Seattle could very well win it. They're the hot team right now. I just think the Rams are battle tested. I really trust Stafford more than Darnold. I think when you need to make a play, if it comes down to that, I think Darnold could do it. Not saying that, I think Stafford could do it. Not saying Darnold can't, but, Stafford, to me, can take chances if he wants to. Darnold has to play within himself. If any of those things, the balance sways one way or another, like if they make Darnold into a passer and just take out the running game and just sell out and try to stop Kenneth Walker, and try to double JSN, try to see what Darnold could do to beat you. That's what I think McVay is going to try to do. And I think they're going to, air it out a little bit. And because you have to put points on the board to beat Seattle. They're a hell of a team. It's going to be a classic, and it's going to come down to the last possession. But I got the Rams.
Well, I feel like I have to stick with the Rams at this point because they were my original prediction. But I can sit here and say I'm not going to be mad if it's the Seahawks, and I would be so happy for Sam Darnold. He's been on a hell of a journey throughout his quarterback career, obviously getting drafted by the Jets and then turning it around. So I can tell you right now, all the Jets fans are all on board with Darnold and wanting him to win. But Sean, you said it perfectly too. I think whoever wins this game is going to be the Super Bowl champion at the end of the day. So, well, we will talk about those 2 games coming up next week. I want to get into, we had a lot of MLB news. We'll get into that, I promise. I know you 2 are excited. I didn't realize the Peralta thing happened just like 20 minutes ago while we've been on here. But let's talk about, obviously, Guy, your team. I don't know why the ambulance is coming all of a sudden, but obviously, the Miami Dolphins have a new head coach in Jeff Hafley. So, Guy, overall thoughts? Are you happy?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a change in philosophy. I'm not surprised that Sullivan got his guy. The ex front office guy that's our GM now. And I think Hafley has some coaching experience in college with Boston College. And he's, run the gamut of different places, being, defensive coach here, defensive coordinator here. The new philosophy is going to be, big, physical. We're going to try to play smash mouth football. We're going to do a total 180 away from the speed and finesse game that, kind of didn't work when it, went to cold weather games. It was nice at home and nice early in the season, but, if you can't establish the run and sometimes run it down people's throats, for lack of a better word, and control the pace of play, it's nice to have, all these smoke and mirrors and all that, but that hasn't won us games consistently. So it's a nice breath of fresh air to go back to a little bit of old school football and put an emphasis on physicality.
Sean, I'm going to ask you your thoughts, but also Mike McDaniel is now going to be the offensive coach. So if you want to share your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think the McDaniels thing is like the biggest news of the week.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we both had said last week we thought Halfley was going to end up going there anyways, so it wasn't like a shocker.
Yep.
Sullivan got his guy, as he said. I think that's really all it came down to. It seemed like a lot of these hires are almost predictable to this point. You know, wherever Harbaugh didn't go, Stefanski was going. You know, Halfley's going there. The McDaniels one threw me off a lot because I actually thought he was going to go to Detroit. So I was kind of shocked he chose to go to the Chargers. They have a good offense, and they'll be getting both of their star tackles back, obviously, next year. So an offense will, I mean, under him, I'm going to be really curious to see the numbers that Justin Herbert puts up. And I'm going to tell you right now, from a fantasy point of view, Omarion Hampton might be like top 3 RB next year if he can stay healthy, because McDaniels loves his running backs, and he loves to get them involved. And guys like that can catch the ball, run the ball. I mean, we saw what he did with HN, right? I'm actually really excited to see that Chargers offense next year, because I think they were, to me, if the Chargers had a fully healthy team, you know, their alignment and everything, I think they win against the Patriots. And I think they probably, you know, beat the Texans, because I do think that team is extremely talented and extremely well coached. And, you know, we said it last week, they got grit. It would not have shocked me, you know, if they had beat the Patriots, you know, but they're just a gritty team. And now you have a wizard on offense. So I think that was probably the best. I know the Giants getting Harbaugh was like the best signing, quote unquote, but I think that's going to fly under the radar the most. And that we're going to see next year that offense is Justin Herbert might be a top quarterback in the league next year.
Did you guys, was it the Stefanski news last week?
No, it was this week.
Or was
No,
it
this
this week? Okay. Do you want to, Sean, since we left off with you?
Yeah, I was shocked he got fired in the first place. I know why he got fired. I don't think he's that bad of a coach, and I think him going is going to be very cool. I just think Atlanta has to figure out I think that's exactly what Harbaugh didn't go there. They don't have a quarterback, right? Like, got Penix, who's pushing 30 at this point off of multiple injuries. I don't think a lot of people realize how old he was coming out of Washington. I think he was like 26 when he got drafted or something, 24. You know, it was like Brandon Whedon-esque almost, like his age. And obviously Kirk Cousins is a stone statue in the middle of the field, so you're not going to want to roll him out. So I'm going to be curious to see who they get at quarterback. You know, if I would be cool, like very interested to see if, like, you know, Trinidad was forced to come out because he couldn't go back, and they take him in like the 4th or 5th round and just get a flyer on him. I think absolutely loaded, right? I mean, they have players all over the field. Best running back in the league, in my opinion. Stud receivers. I think Darnell Mooney got underutilized. The rumor is that Kyle Pitts probably isn't going to get re-signed. I think that'd be a mistake. And then that defense is not horrible, in my opinion. It's definitely serviceable. So I think the Atlanta job, obviously, to me, was like the second most enticing job on the market, as long as you can get a quarterback. But I think he's a great coach, and I think he's going to do great things. And we've seen what he's done with quarterbacks outside of like Shador and, you know, Dylan Gabriel, who are 3rd and 5th round picks. You know, you're not investing in that. And you know, you have the Baker Mayfield drama, but like he made it into the second round of the playoffs with a 38-year-old Joe Flacco, right? Like, guy has to kind of know what he's doing. The Browns have never been – they've always been a great defensive team, but they've never been like an elite offensive team. So, yeah.
Guy, before I shift it over to you, Bijan is actually at the Arizona basketball game right now. They put him on the TV there. I always forget he's a Tucson native, so good to see him there. Guy,
yeah, that's why everyone was shocked when he went to Texas, right? Because everyone thought he was staying at state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Guy?
Yeah, no, I think the Stefanski hire is a smart one for that organization. He's going to bring structure, and, you know, he almost, you could say, worked a miracle for having the Browns win a playoff game. You know, that doesn't come around very often. So, and for him to be a coach of the year in Cleveland is an accomplishment in and of itself.
He's He's 2-time coach of the year, right?
Yeah, 2-time.
It's not like they hand that out like a cupcake. You know what I mean?
No.
It's impressive.
Yeah. And, he kind of turned the culture around in Cleveland. It wasn't the doormat that it used to be. At the very least, they had a pretty good defense, and you could get beat by them, and a lot of that had to do with him changing that culture a few years ago. Atlanta kind of needed that also, because they have a lot of raw pieces, and I think he's the right guy to refine that team to have them cohesive and kind of pulling in the same direction. And with Bijan Robinson, I think it's just going to be another great year. Like Sean said, if they figure out the quarterback position, that's a team that could win that division pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm real interested to see what they're going to do at that quarterback position, because obviously Penix is so injury prone at this point, and then you threw so much money at Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins has been linked to some other teams, aka like the Jets, who may want him, but I don't think Atlanta's going to also let him go that easily because of look at the situation and how it worked out this back half of the season. So more to come on that. Still plenty of head coach openings right now. The Cardinals still need to figure it out. The Steelers still need to figure it out. So
could you imagine if Jameis Winston went to the Falcons?
They
might be the number one offense in the league.
Probably.
Yeah. I was just looking at like possible one. I don't think the Giants will trade him, but I was just kind of looking at like possible quarterbacks, and I was like, Jameis Winston would be freaking fun over there. Even
he'd be fun in Atlanta.
Yeah, Mariota too. Like either one of them, because Mariota looked. I mean, it's funny because both of them came out in the same class, obviously. But like either one of them as like backups or like bridge quarterbacks, they both looked half decent, this year.
Mm-hmm. Making sure I didn't miss anything. I thought I got everything from this week. I saw earlier today. I think Eric Bieniemy is going back to the offensive coordinator position for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I think that's the only other thing from the last week. I feel like. And literally, after we record, something happens either during or literally the next day. And I'm like, all right. And it just feels like ancient news by the time we get around to it. So
I'm also curious to see. I think this McDermott firing was a mistake personally, but we'll see how that plays out. Not a fan.
Me too.
I mean, and did you see the Giant article about how he had to sit down with the GM and the president and said, hey, I don't agree with some of this stuff. And they basically told him to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, that's insane to me. And then shitting on an active player. I mean, Jesus, Keon Coleman. I mean, they got to trade him now. But I remember when Coleman got drafted, they were like, yeah, he was on the board. That's our guy. And, then to come out and say, well, that was the coach's choices. No, you literally said when you drafted him, that was your guy. And now you're reneging on what you said and changing it entirely. That makes no sense to me. And that's another one of those organizations where the front office is so piss poor. I mean, Jesus, if you got Josh Allen, 2 serviceable fucking receivers, the defense is fine enough. Get him 2 receivers. They got the tight ends. Shakir cannot be your wide receiver 1. He cannot.
Mm-hmm.
Just get him anybody usable. I don't understand what they're doing, and they're wasting his prime. And everyone can blame Josh Allen. Like, Josh Allen has been a one-man army for how many years? I know James Cook has been good the last couple, but that does not take away from the lack of offensive tools that they give that man. It is pathetic.
Yeah, there's a big implosion over there. That Keon Coleman news was absolutely nuts today, and that's not the right. That's just not what you needed right now, especially after firing your head coach and then having that come out literally in the same week. You just proved that your whole organization is in shambles. And that's exactly why you haven't won shit. Let's start
ever.
You haven't won shit ever. There's a big problem over there. So I'm glad to see it's another AFC East team besides our shit shows, guy. Ooh, holding on strong.
Yeah.
Damn. All right. Well, let's hit a lot of MLB news. My God. And some of it affects, obviously, Guy's team here in the Mets. Are you wearing a Mets shirt today?
Oh, yeah.
Hey. Swagged out.
Speaking into existence.
I know. And then was it last week? I think you guys had the Tucker news, right?
No, that was this week. No, Tucker
That was
signed
this
this
week
week.
too?
Yeah.
With
Tucker
the
did not
Dodgers?
sign.
Oh, yes.
Tucker
this
signed
week.
while I was in Miami.
Damn. Oh, great. All right. We got
Yeah.
a lot to cover then. Who do you want to start with?
Bellinger signed today. There's a ton of
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
I'd like to start with the Mets because I think I like Peralta, but that was a dog shit trade.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and get
I'm
into it.
curious to hear Guy's view. I want to hear what Guy has to say because I hate that trade.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things happening now. The Mets are starting to make some moves, and during our live stream here, the Mets received Freddie Peralta basically for Brandon Sproat and Jet Williams. Two of our better prospects. I didn't think that we were going to get rid of Sproat, to be honest with you. I thought he's going to be a pretty good pitcher. And Jet Williams has been hearing his name for the last couple of years about when he, but I thought that maybe we had a surplus of infielders. So that's why, they're just trading from their surplus, and they needed an ace at the end of the day. I'm sad to see Sproat and Williams go, but Peralta is only making $8 million this year. And if they're able to re-sign him, then this trade becomes a very good trade. But they have to re-sign him. Peralta is an all-star. He's going to get a lot of strikeouts. And the Mets desperately needed a bona fide starting pitcher to pitch opening day. This kind of sets the rest of the rotation a little bit. Nobody has to really pitch out of their, slot, let's say. And I think, we're seeing the Mets, take care of business now. On top of, signing Bo Bichette, which a lot of people did not see us doing, stealing him from the Phillies pretty much in the 11th hour. The shift in philosophy with their offense is going to be more geared towards contact, bat on ball skills, and a vast improvement in hitting with runners in scoring position. Bo Bichette was number 1 in batting average with runners in scoring position with 381. And too many times over the last few years, we have been terrible in those situations. So at least we addressed that. And I think we addressed Peralta here without having to go break the bank for Skubal, like prospect wise. We have a chance to get Skubal in the offseason next year. And if we, lose Peralta and gain Skubal, it's okay. At the very least, we'll have an ace either way. I think that's the mentality. But I'm actually happy that we have somebody now that we can give the ball game 1.
Well, and you also, Luis Robert Jr.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I think it's great because, we are trying to build a very good defensive team, and, building it up the middle strong is basically a winning formula. I think defensively, that's what we have. We have gold glove caliber guys up the middle, and Robert's gonna pick up the slack for Soto in that gap, and Carson Bench or whoever plays left field in that gap to gap. We know Robert has elite tools, even though he's been on the decline over the last few years with batting average. But I think a change in scenery is going to do him wonders, and not having to be the man. You were the man in Chicago, and that team was terrible the last few years. Now he could just focus on playing baseball and trying to get his talents unlocked somehow. I think he still has another gear that he can find and be a very good professional player. But both those signings with the right-handed bats give our lineup length and balance, and I think that bodes well for us too in the season.
Yeah, Luis to me is like a low risk, high reward for you guys
Yeah.
in terms of the Mets, I should say. Sean, any thoughts on some of the moves that the Mets are making?
I didn't like either of them, but I'm not a Mets fan, so I think trading. I think if you kept Brandon Sproat with McLean and Tong, so I think Brandon Sproat could have, or not Brandon Sproat, Nolan McLean could have easily been your day one starter. The guy was a lightning rod last year. I mean, he was incredible from the second he stepped into the majors. Tong has mega high upside, and Sproat, he had 2 losses, but I mean, he looked fine. You have 3 young kids that you can build around. I mean, Peralta's cool. You have to re-sign him is the thing. And I'm also just not a fan of Luis Roberts. He can't stay healthy. He's great when he is healthy. I mean, I think a couple years ago he had like Buar or something. Like he got MVP votes, right? Like he was really good. That was the only season he's been healthy though. And I actually liked Acuna, and I felt like they probably could have developed him a little bit more. And he was only 23, right? But you're kind of swinging for the fences almost, literally with Acuna because with Luis Roberts because that's what you get with him. And then you do get an ace, which is cool, but I just feel like you guys have like a really good trio of young pitchers. And then trading Jet Williams is insane to me, but I don't run an organization, so very clearly I don't know everything. But I would be shocked if there wasn't a lot of Met fans that didn't think this was like a slam dunk trade. Like it wouldn't shock me either way. But I will say at least they're making moves and they're trying to make a splash, and that's what matters. And like you said, if you miss out on Peralta next year, maybe you can get Skubal, right? Like it wouldn't shock me if Skubal ended up signing with the Dodgers at this point, frankly. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, at least the Mets are trying. I will say that.
Right. And in my group chat, a lot of the Jets fans are Mets fans as well. And they just kind of they seem okay with it. It's not anything overly excited, but they are liking some of the changes and it just looks different to them. So they seem a little bit, at least it's hopeful, I guess I should say. And before we move on to some of the other signings, obviously Andrew Jones and Carlos Beltran elected to the Hall of Fame. I think, Guy, if you want to go into more detail, or Sean, obviously 2 names that just stand out immediately. You know who they are. They're those type of players. But Guy or Sean, anything additional to add? Well deserved, of course.
Yeah, I think 2 of the best center fielders of that generation, well deserved. Andrew Jones was the best defensive center fielder that I've seen in my lifetime. And his power and defense combo is very unique. Just think about this, that prior to like the announcement yesterday, there's only 8 other center fielders in the Hall of Fame. So to join that list is a very special thing. And then Carlos Beltran, just a switch hitter. He's a 5-tool player. He can do it all. What he did in the playoffs, his OPS is only bested by Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, and George Brett. He is number 4 on that list, and not by. And he also does have the highest stealing percentage, success rate for anybody with 300 steals or more, with like 86.4%. He was a winner, man, and he taught himself how to switch hit at 19, so he got it late, and it parlayed into a Hall of Fame career. Not many guys could do that. I'm just happy for both of them, man. And they were born a day apart too, which is kind of crazy. And they played the same position on the field, and they're both going into the Hall of Fame at the same time. So baseball has a weird way of working like that sometimes, and couldn't be happier for those 2 guys. And for Beltran, the 6th Puerto Rican in the Hall of Fame, that brings another sense of pride for us. He's actually built baseball academies and PR to try to grow the game. So the things that he does for the community out there are second to none, with players reinvesting in the community. So, and I know that Andrew Jones does the same thing for Curacao. So like two guys cut from the same exact cloth, and I applaud them.
Sean, anything else to add?
I'm right there. I'm right there with Guy. I remember Jones. I think it was like 2005 or 2004 is like 50 bomb home run year. That was like the first year I started watching baseball. I always thought he was. I'd always watch Atlanta games for no reason, just because I feel like every time I watched, the guy would hit a home run, and that was super cool to me. But I think Guy hit the nail on the head. Just we expected it for both of them, and congrats to both of them. Two amazing careers, and to echo Guy's sentiment, they are great for their communities as well, and that's huge. That's always what you ask with those guys when they make that much money. Just give back a little bit, more than they have to.
Sean, I'm gonna let you pick. What do you want to talk about next? There's been tons of MLB action.
We can talk about the Bellinger move today, because I did not like them re-signing him. I don't know why. I thought they were going to let him walk, and I thought they were going to call up the and I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but the slugger they got. Yeah, Spencer Jones. Let him come up in the league and just let him play. He might strike out 200 times, but the guy is got a knack for baseball. When he gets contact on the ball, he had 17 home runs in a row or something last year, like 13 at bats in a row or a home run. There was some weird stat with him, and they paid a lot. Like it was like 5 years, 180 or something.
There's 162.
162. But isn't that almost the same deal that Schwarber got?
Yeah, slightly more, I think, but
I don't know.
Same ballpark.
Yeah. I didn't like it. I think I would have been okay with letting him walk. It just didn't seem like it felt like it was smoke and mirrors. Like, oh, he has all these places to go. I don't think he had a lot of offers. And I think that maybe the Yankees fell for a little bit, and they're like, hey, we'll give you a little bit more if you come back to us. I wasn't a fan of it. I'd like to see what Yankees fans think about it, because I think from what I had understood is, a lot of Yankees fans were okay with letting him walk, but you got him back. I think they had to kind of re-sign someone because everyone else was signing people. I think that's kind of what it came down to. Oh, look, it's a shiny new car that's not new, but everyone else is doing the same thing. So
yeah, and Sean, from my group chat, there's Yankees fans in there too. It just seems like, honestly, that they had no choice, and they weren't really amused by it either. They're like, oh well, we didn't win with him the last season, so really.
Yeah, but they're fucking up Dominguez's trajectory. They're fucking up what's his name? Spencer Jones. Sorry, they're all you're doing is they have too many outfielders. Almost, they genuinely do. Because Jazz plays outfield for them too, right? Or did Jazz move into the infield?
He went back to the infield.
I didn't really, because he was just hurt a lot last year, so I didn't really keep. I feel like you'd be fine if you had Aaron. Well, I know the Aaron Judge arm injury. I don't know what the talks are of moving him around this year. But Aaron Jones, Spencer, and Jason would be fine in the outfield. I feel like you got young guys that you can bring up that have the talent, that aren't costing you 5 years, 162 or whatever it was. And then I guess, you don't want to have Stanton in the outfield. Let's be honest. I don't know. It's how I feel.
Well, that the other thing too is that he has, for me, it's not so much the money, it's the years too. Cause you're investing 5 years in Bellinger, who could regress. He already had shoulder injuries before, and are you going to put him in the outfield or put him at first base? There's still those question marks, but his home road splits also concern me, because yes, I think he is good for Yankee Stadium, and that his swing kind of fits that ballpark profile, but on the road his numbers aren't the same. So I don't think you're going to get that great production, consistently when you need to win a game on the road.
They got Grisham too. I forgot about Trent Grisham as well.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, dude, I don't know.
And
Speaking of ballparks, Bregman signing, I hated that one too. We could get to him after, but that's to your point. I think it is very important. These ballpark numbers are extremely important, because it seems like platooning is becoming more and more common, but I feel like you can only platoon so much, right? Because you'd have to have your farms where you can keep replacing these guys, because these guys are going to have value eventually, right? Like anybody on the Rockies can go play in that stadium and hit 50 nukes a year. You know what I mean? But it's like all of the Rockies players outside of Colorado weren't very good, and vice versa. Like you said, like, his stats at home, great. But when you're traveling, you're not at home 5 games in the playoffs. Like you have to have production elsewhere.
We can move right into the Bregman. I feel like everything's so. I feel like a lot more has happened in like a week, and I'm like everything's getting confused, and I'm sure Sean too. That's why you're like, no, I was in Miami, and I'm like, oh dang, the holiday really threw me off on Monday. Obviously you didn't like the Bregman deal, Guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a personal standpoint, I think his numbers at Fenway helped him. Like I think he was great for Fenway Park. Bregman at Wrigley Field, he might go through some slumps just because of the wind that in the cold weather months the wind blows in pretty hard, but in the summertime the wind does blow out, and he could probably regain some of those numbers in those months, but I didn't really see the fit there in the on the reveal of the contract. I'm like, okay, they signed Bregman. I thought they kind of had their infield already, but I guess they wanted to make a splash because Kyle Tucker was going out the door, and they had some money to play with. So I guess I think it's more of a lateral move than like a vast improvement. I think he's gonna be Bregman, and he's gonna be a gamer, and I like Bregman as a player, but the fit was a little forced to me.
I saw Johnny Boy's comment right here about the only thing you haven't commented the Mets, the rest is question marks.
Speaking of the Cubs, did you see this whole thing about how Caleb Williams and PCA might be dating? Has anybody seen that shit?
Wait, no. What?
Yeah, I have no idea. Apparently, they've been going to like a bunch of shit together, like quote unquote dates. Everyone thinks Pete Crow Armstrong and Caleb Williams are dating. It's insane.
They were at the Blackhawks game yesterday.
Yeah, they went to that, and they went to something else, and they were like at a dinner the day before. I'm like,
oh man,
God forbid a man has friends.
Oh,
I mean, if it's true, that would be great too. But geez, man, people be looking. I know. I saw that video. I thought they were just having fun, like a guys' night. That's what you do when like. I feel like it's the same thing when like a player signs with a team. They usually go to all the sporting events, So I don't know. Yes. God forbid this man wants to like put on a show for Chicago.
You know what they say? Boys will be boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
So.
He said, I don't know. Also, speaking of the Red Sox, too, Ranger Suarez signed there. That was a big
sign. Mm-hmm. It was a 5-year, like $130 million.
Yeah, wasn't a bad deal at all, actually, I think, personally. Yeah, I guess we could get to the real big, juicy boy, Kyle Tucker.
Oh, that directly affects me because being a Diamondbacks fan, I'm like, Jesus, the goddamn Dodgers. You didn't need him. You didn't need him. There needs to be a cap on the money, bro. Like,
so here's my thing.
Endless
I agree, right? Like they spend too much money, they manipulate it. But to you guys, right? In my opinion, if you're going to have a salary cap, I think there should also be a salary minimum because a lot of these teams aren't wanting to spend money either, right? So It looks worse for the Dodgers because they're going to sign people, but they're doing it and they don't give a fuck. It's not like they're doing it and they're outbidding like 20 other teams. There's only like 4 or 5 teams investing. Like they have, I think it was the bottom 3 teams or bottom 4 teams. Their payroll this year is equivalent to all 4 of those teams combined. I mean, that's also ridiculous, right? Like you need to punish teams for not, like the Pirates are infamous for not paying players. Like Paul Skeens is not going to re-sign there. He's going to go somewhere else. They're not going to pay the guy. So these teams refusing to spend money is also an issue. You can be mad at the Dodgers all you want, but at least they're trying to go out and win and spend money. I'll give them that. It's annoying as shit, but they're paying for it, but they're also winning. They're also getting all the endorsements. So really, they're not losing money off of it because there's so much profitability that comes from it. You have Shohei, one of the biggest faces on earth from a sports point of view, right? Everyone in Japan knows him. Everybody here knows him. You got Mookie Betts, you got Freddie Freeman, you got Yamamoto, you got Roy Saki, whatever his name. Now you have Kyle Tucker. They're just bringing in big names, and that sells merchandise, that sells tickets, and then they're winning. So yes, we can be mad at them for spending egregious amounts of money, but on the flip side, nobody else is really spending money either. So who do we actually want to be mad at?
Guy, thoughts on what Sean just said?
Yeah, no, I agree with Sean. I think we're all upset at the Dodgers, but at the same time, like, let's not pretend like the owner of the Pirates is a poor man, right? He could invest his revenue sharing at the very least into signing a bat there. There's no reason why that they haven't gone out there and at least try to get like Eugenio Suarez or somebody that could be a cleanup batter for that team, just to show fans that you're trying. The salary minimum or salary floor, that needs to be instituted before the cap, just so that teams like the Marlins and the A's and the Pirates, who notoriously do this, and even the Rays, that like, in order for there to be some balance,
Rays are the only exception though, because at least they're competitive year in and year out. I will give them that much. They still need to be part of the salary floor, but at least they're competitive and they're a well-run organization. That's not for these other ones.
Right. But at the same time, that if they're held accountable, like they could be even better if they invest some money. Not to say that just to turn to the Dodgers, but put some money into that team, and you might improve by leaps and bounds, and at the very least there'll be a little bit more parity in the league. I think that's where Manfred kind of wants the MLB at. But I think everybody here wouldn't be mad if the Dodgers tactics were used for their team, because at least they're going for it and they're trying by any means necessary to put on the best product on the field. And for that, I have to respect them. But you already have an all-star team, for lack of a better word, former MVPs, current MVPs, and a guy that doesn't really have to be the man in Kyle Tucker. Just slot him right in, and he's just going to flourish. A guy in his prime.
Well, and like Johnny Boy said, you can't be mad at the Dodgers. It's kind of like one of those things like don't hate the player, hate the game type of deal. So
yeah.
And again, you're right. If it was happening to my team, I'd be all for it, And again, a lot of me is just speaking from the fact that this is an opponent that the Diamondbacks have to face literally every single year. And I just obviously can't stand LA teams. I've been known for saying that on here, and I will continue to repeat that. But hey, they're trying to build like a dynasty over there. It is what it is. All LA teams do that. Look at the Lakers trying to build something over there. So
yeah. And there's 12 teams that are spending under $150 million a year, by the way. 12. And it's 19 is Cincy, Milwaukee, the A's, Colorado, St. Louis, Minnesota, Washington, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Chicago, White Sox, Tampa Bay, and Miami. And then the jump from Cincy to number 18, who is Seattle, it goes from 150 to 195.
Yeah.
And then it like 195, 197, 200, 202. And then it like slowly goes up as you go up. But like 12 teams to be spending under $150 million is, that's a joke. That's that's more than a third of the league underspending. And then you don't even get taxed until you spend over 200, I think. So like they have, or 220 or whatever it is. So you have tons of wiggle room. I don't know. I think the Shohei contract's bullshit, but that's the only really thing I didn't like that they did. I thought that was like manipulation of the rules, which, you know, they pay people a lot of money to dig through those rules and figure out what they can and can't do. And, you know, if they're spending the time, money, effort, energy, and resources to do it, good for them. Like, I'm not going to fault them for doing that. I wish the Mariners would do that. I mean, shit, it'd be awesome, you know? It's just frustrating, you know, as sports fans. You know, you want to see the best, but also if I'm seeing a team that looks like I built them in Madden on no trade sliders, fuck it, I'll watch that too. You know what I mean? So.
Well, did we miss anything else? I know we talked about Suarez.
I don't think so. I can just double check. We got the Bichette deal. Josh Lowe got traded, but nobody really cares about that. Yeah, I think we kind of got everything as far as baseball goes, it looks like. The Phillies brought back Real Muto, I guess. That was expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing like crazy else that's going on, it seems like.
Right. Those seem to be like the major things. We can talk about NBA really quickly. I know Jimmy Butler is out for the season. That injury, that looks ugly.
It's going to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that dynasty is over.
Finally.
Yeah. I heard rumblings that Kerr will be out this year too. He's on the last year of his contract, and he will be out the door. I think that the Kuminga situation was hyper mismanaged. I wish they would have let him played. You know, now you have Jimmy Butler, who has one more year on his deal at like $57 million for next year, which, you know, I think I might be okay. Like if it's not the 2028 pick, because that's gonna be mega valuable, but like attach like your 2026 or 2027 first round pick with Jimmy Butler's contract and send him for AD. I mean, that would be something that might be slightly interesting. I don't know how much it's going to actually take to get that deal done, but yeah. And then you got Draymond, who's, you know, not on the early side of 30. Steph's going to be 37 or 38. And then it's Friends. It's like Abby and Friends, but even worse because at least we can talk. The other guys can't even talk. Yeah, like I think that Warriors dynasty is going to come to a collapse. I think that in 2028, they might even have the number 1 overall pick because they're not going to have anybody on that roster. So,
yeah.
Well, how has OKC been doing?
I mean, minus losing.
I haven't been paying attention because the Suns have been winning. So
I mean, we're beating the shit out of we're beating the brakes off of the Bucks right now. We beat the Cavs by like 30 plus yesterday. We had the 2-point loss to the Heat. That was a little tough. But, I mean, we're 38-6-8. You can't be mad about it. I didn't really, you know, I've been out of town, so I actually haven't even looked. I'd actually be curious to see. I don't even know what the Jalen Williams injury was. Yeah, he's out for 2 weeks. But fun fact, we're 18-1 without Jalen Williams. 19-1, I guess. Or 19-1 in games he hasn't started. So not to say that like he's lowering our floor, but we definitely perform better when he's not on the floor, which is weird. But like he obviously provides those minutes in the playoffs that are really important because he's really the only other person that can be a 3-level scorer for us. Almost it feels like. But I'm happy with OKC. I mean, we don't need to break the wins record. We just need to win the title. And as long as we can avoid the Spurs, apparently we're more than capable of doing it. But yeah.
Guy, what's going on with the Spurs? I saw that Carter Bryant was sent to the G League a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and that's, you know, just to get him some playing time.
Yeah, I wasn't mad at it. Yeah, I think having more touches will do him some good there.
And the Spurs always have been a place where they produce and refine talent. So yeah, like going to the G League is not a death sentence for him at all. I think next year is when you're going to see his impact more than this year. But he's been playing a little bit. The Spurs, I can't be mad at them being 30-14, second in the West. Our development is ahead of schedule. Love the guards and the others. Besides having Wemby, I think the others are playing their roles fabulously, and they bought in to the culture there. I got to give props to a guy like Julian Champagny, who's been just that 3-and-D guy, that effort guy, and Keldon Johnson, who is like maybe 6'4", but he plays like 6'10", with his body control and spacing that he does with boxing out. And then Harper and Castle and Fox being these like 3-headed point guard monster that with speed and just defensive intensity, and Vassell and Luke Cornett being probably the steal of the offseason with what he's been providing with veteran leadership and just doing all the little things. I still think that they need one more piece, somebody to play the 4, somebody that can complement Wemby. I don't know if I go crazy and trade anybody and break up the nucleus, but I think they do need some rebounding help, and I think that that's their Achilles heel is they are susceptible to giving up offensive rebounds.
Well, and you already know that I'm happy. I know, was it Shaq in here was talking about the Knicks beat the Nets by 54. Well, the Suns beat the Knicks and the Nets, so take that. You best believe I was talking my shit, too. The Knicks fans are all in that chat. They're so annoying, and I'm like, I even sent it to my co-host. He's like, man, please pray for me. This is the only thing I have. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to hear it from you right now. But very happy with the Suns right now. Obviously, Jalen Green is back. Very exciting. He had a good game yesterday, and Devin Booker doing Devin Booker things. I just love to see this team, how they've kind of come together. They just look happier and they mesh better, and it shows. I think removing kind of KD from that locker room. Although I have no issue with KD and having him go to the Rockets and whatnot, I think it just did wonders in that locker room. Kind of took a lot of pressure. Let Book be that number one dude, have no other kind of competition around him, and I love it. Devin Booker loves Phoenix too, and I hope he stays here forever. So very happy with the Suns right now. In case y'all are wondering, the Arizona Wildcats are winning 52-43. They've been stressing me out this entire game.
44 now. They made a free throw.
Oh, yeah, I know. I just saw. Pissing me off, man. Sorry. Like, this is why
I told you I'd take Cincy money line.
You fucking lie, bro. And this is the Kale, which is why it's even more annoying. I get it's still like a Big 12 matchup at the end of the day. But, yeah, it's just I don't know what's going on right now. I've been watching it. It's foul trouble with Koa P and everything.
It's just how all those games are, though, right? Like even NFL, NBA, like all division games are always gonna be harder no matter what.
Look, a hot mess and all over the place. Like they're usually so good at getting in the paint, and I just see none of that. I see them looking a little scrambled. So
if they only win this game by like 3 points, they're probably gonna drop them down to like number 4 in the nation for no reason.
Oh yeah, I know. It's finally, I think we were like the unanimous vote for number 1 this week. My God. So those two, I think the week before was like 2 people voted for Iowa State.
Who got clapped twice in a row. I was like, what in the world?
Yep. So do you guys watch UFC?
No, I used to watch it all the time.
Oh, there's like 2 really good cards coming up, and I'm super excited.
I know Patty's fighting, right? Not Patty. Yeah, Patty. Yeah. I saw that. I like watching him fight.
I'm kind of sad that the Nunes fight isn't happening anymore. I think Harrison had to have a surgery and whatnot, so that will probably be rescheduled. So yeah, the fight this weekend's in Las Vegas, I believe. So that'll be a good one. Patty's funny. I see clip, and now that he's about to fight this weekend, you see a lot more clips going around, just random ones. And he's just like, the way he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, he reminds me of like a more tame Connor. Like, what a shame he is.
And then the weekend, and not this weekend, but the weekend after, you have Diego Lopez, who's my favorite UFC fighter, fighting again. He'll take on Volkanovski, I think. And they call him something else for sure. I'm just blanking on it at this point in time. But that'll be a good rematch from last year, I believe. So I think that's it. Do you guys have any rants?
Honestly, not today.
I don't either. I always just shout out like the Arizona Wildcats, and I'm very happy with the Suns, and that's kind of the only thing I had to say.
I was gonna rant about people bitching about the salary cap, and then we talked about it. So I was like, oh, okay, girl. I just get so tired of hearing it, It's like, these guys are billionaires. If they want to spend money, they certainly can, and they certainly can generate revenue. They just don't want to. They want an easy check, and they just want to glide by. So that's what you want. Go for it. No one's going to be mad at you, but don't bitch because other teams want to spend money, Simple as that.
Guy?
I saw something that was pretty interesting. It's in the NBA. I know there's some Knicks fans in the building. They haven't been the best in the last couple of weeks, right? And there's reports of like a riff in the locker room there. And, they infamously fired their coach, Tom Thibodeau last season, brought in, Coach Mike Brown. And I don't know if you guys remember, Karl Anthony Towns was questioning his role on the team, saying he doesn't quite know where he fits in or something to that effect, right? It kind of hinted to me that there was a chemistry issue going into this season. At least the stylistic difference, because Cat is kind of soft and New York kind of loves their gritty players. So I knew at one point or at some point down the road that if he starts to do his thing like we know Cat does, the fans are going to turn on him, and they're starting to. And I think he's hearing the rumors about him being involved in trades, and it's getting to his head. So I think yesterday, the Knicks had a players-only meeting led by Jalen Brunson, trying to clear the air, so to speak. Because let's be real, right? This is their opportunity to get to the finals. With the injuries that the Celtics have, the Pacers have, obviously Detroit is a great team, and I think that they're actually a little better than New York. But from a logical perspective, right, Knicks go to the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay, you got pretty much the same team, a little bit more. You got Clarkson to come off the bench. You did a little tweaking. Conventional wisdom says the path might be easier. It's almost like not to the same effect, but like, Josh Allen not having to go through like Mahomes and Lamar and Burrow, right? Like some of the obstacles are not there for the Knicks, and for them to hit this rough patch, like how they lost to the Mavericks the other day was insane. At one point in the game, they were down by 30 to the Mavericks, who don't have AD or Kyrie or Lively. It's inexplicable. So I say, man, watch out for that trade deadline, because if they had to make a statement against the Nets. If they would have lost, maybe something would have happened, and that could have been a drastic overreaction. But in the next month, let's pay attention to what the Knicks do and how they play, because they might be regretting trading Julius Randle and what's that other guy? The guy from Villanova, DiVincenzo, yes. I thought that those two guys fit their identity a little more they went with the shiny toy and the, kind of like the offense and the perimeter game, but I thought they had something building here, and they kind of like got rid of the coach and got rid of some of the guys that exemplified that grit that represents New York in the area.
I liked them when they were there too.
I'm curious too to see, because I know it's like a good window for them, but like the Celtics are like 20 times better than anybody thought. So what if Tatum comes back for the playoffs? They're going to be a top 4 seed almost. Like no one was expecting them. With you get rid of Porzingis, the Tatum injury. This team, I mean, they're second in the East right now, right?
Yeah.
It's really incredible what Boston has done this year, because I was one of those people that said they're just take a year. Because I feel like I still feel like they shouldn't bring Tatum back even if they make the playoffs, because I don't want him to re-injure himself. He's such a fun talent. He's such a good person to watch in the league. But there's going to be conversations happening the closer we get to playoffs with them as well. Hey, Tatum was dunking in October. TikTok, he might be 8 months in recovery at this point. The ACL recovery is not as long as it used to be. The Achilles recovery, not as long as it used to be. These injuries that used to be 18 months, guys are coming back in 9 or 10 months, and everyone wants to talk about, oh, the data says this. Well, the data didn't have all this medical stuff we have nowadays either. Those are arguments of the past. So that's going to be really curious to see, because if somehow the Celtics finishes like a top 2 seed, top 3 seed, I could very well see Tatum coming back. And if they're playing this well already, imagine inserting a top 5 player in the league back into your lineup. So
it's a good point, Sean.
And I think that actually adds pressure to New York to try to make a move, right? Because they know that Tatum is lurking and coming back soon. And the Knicks have kind of like plateaued, or kind of like been up and down. One of their chief rivals is the Celtics, right? And the job that Jaylen Brown has done to just lead this team, can't be understated. I actually think he should be the MVP of this league, just on what he's been doing for Boston without Tatum, and kudos to him for making the All-Star team as a starter, and people recognizing what he's done, because a lot of people counted them out, and Jaylen Brown's like, no, hell no. And right now they're number 2 in the East, so long way to go, but so far they're ahead of schedule.
And I will say, if they do finish as like a top 2 seed, and I'm an OKC fan, right? Jokic isn't going to qualify most likely. Obviously, I think Shea's the best player in the league. But if they finish as like a top 2 or 3 seed, and so do the Pistons, I think either Brown or Cade should be MVP personally. And it should go to most valuable player. Now, they're all putting, Shea's scoring a little more efficient. He's always going to be that more efficient scorer, right? There's no guard that's going to have a true shooting percentage like a big man. That's not him. But value-wise, what that Celtics team has around them, they shouldn't be in number 2 in the East. Granted, the East is not very good this year. The Cavs have regressed significantly. Like you said, the Knicks have kind of plateaued a little bit. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. The Raptors are the 4 seed when they were dog shit last year. They have a great team, though. I will say, I thought they had a good team. They just had a lot of young people. Then you have Orlando, the Heat, the Bulls, and the Hawks. Those are your top 10 teams.
What about Philly?
And I say Philly, sorry, Philly's 6.
Oh, 6, okay.
Yeah, Philly started off super hot too, though. And then they've kind of slowed down as well, And then the bottom half is the Pacers, which we expected, losing Miles Turner and Hallie. The Wizards, who are poverty. The Nets, who are poverty. Hornets, who are fun as could be to watch, but they're poverty. And then,
oh my God, I was watching that game earlier.
1 for 13 from LaMelo. I was like, oh, okay. This guy doing front flips when he shoots. What's going on here? And then surprisingly, the Bucks are 3 games out too. I'm sure they'll stabilize a little bit, but they're in cap hell with the Damian Lillard contract, and Giannis might leave. So think like realistically, the East is really not that good this year. So it's kind of hard. And I would love to see what would really do it for me is to see what is Brown and Cade's stats versus the West versus the East. I think that's what it'll come down to when we're talking about MVP at the end of the year. If and only if we keep up these, the standings as they are. I'm sure, like you said, it's very early, right? We're not even at All-Star break yet. But if we keep these standings the way they are, I think really what it's going to come down to is, hey, are you just better against the East, or are you doing the same thing against the West as well?
Well, lots more to come. All right. Well, another good show. There was lots to talk about, especially in terms of MLB this week. And we knew it was going to pick up, but
oh yeah.
Obviously, we appreciate you joining us every Wednesday at 9:30 Eastern. Please like and subscribe to all the social media channels, and we will see you next week. Bye.